fabulous. So thank you very much for listening to me this morning. So I'm Vicky Stanton from Vicky Stanton Coaching. So I am a qualified and accredited business and personal coach. What does that mean? Well, it means that I went off and learnt my trade. I learned how to coach in the purest sense. I have got a postgraduate certificate in my chosen subject, and I'm also a member of the International Coaching Federation, which means that I've got a PCC, which is a professionally certified coach accreditation. Means that I have, at the point I got it 18 months ago, coached for over 500 hours professionally. So I have practiced what I do, and I have a bit of a clue sometimes about what I'm doing. And it also means that I have to maintain my accreditation. So I have to do stuff. I have to learn about my profession constantly, like a lot of us do, to maintain my professional accreditation. Who do I work with then? Well, I work with senior leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, call those words whatever you like, who want to be the best that they can be. But I work with those people who are smart enough, as I said in my minute today, that actually they understand that working on themselves will have a huge impact on their business. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later on. When we work on ourselves, we actually change some of the thought processes, some of the stuff that keeps us stuck, and actually it then has that positive impact on our life, on our career, on our business. I don't go into businesses and help them with their sales processes or their business processes or their systems. It's come up as I'm working with my clients, but actually it's not, there's some business coaches that just go in and look at systems and processes. I'm much more about the person behind the business, and I am certainly not a counsellor, although I do have a listening ear, and some of my clients do offload. That's fine, but actually when it gets into that where they really need some professional help, then I signpost them on. Working with my clients is a huge privilege, and I will never overstep my boundaries. And I think that is something that is really important to me. So how do I work with my clients then? Well, I work in several ways. Primarily, I work one-to-one. I work on Zoom or in person if they're local to me, or a combination of those two ways. I have a women's blueprint program, which I'm looking to extend to actually men and women. Been really good. It's a 12-module program where we cover all sorts of things to do with our own personal development and who we are and how we best show up. I'm also a DISC profiler, which you'll know from last time that I did my 1Nsight, but I also work with teams on DISC, because that's when teams understand each other and how they best communicate with each other. Their ability to work as a better team is even better. So I do that. I have online programs. I have a success planner, which is a physical product, which helps people manage their time and be more productive. And then I have some free stuff on my website, so please head over there and have a look. That's downloadable stuff, all sorts of different things. And I also then do, on occasion, some specific odd session stuff, so values workshop, a DISC individual thing, 90-day planning, things that I think are valuable to us as a one-off rather than working with me on an ongoing basis. So why do people work with me? So these are the sorts of things that you might hear. Now, the words that I put in white are not necessarily the things that people go out and say. So I don't think I've ever heard anybody go, so Vicky, I have imposter syndrome, I need to work with you. But actually what they might say is, you know what, I'm not really as good as people think I am. I feel like a fraud. I'm going to get found out. If I can do it, it can't be that hard. Those sorts of things, imposter syndrome. So I love to work with those sorts of people. People sometimes in business, and it can be all sorts of, some of these merge as well into each other. Sometimes they might feel they've lost direction in their business or their career. They're sort of thinking, actually, I've hit a bit of a brick wall. I don't know what to do next. I've got lots of ideas, lots of thoughts. I don't know how to prioritise them or what to do next. Procrastination. I think we all know what that word means, but actually, again, it might manifest itself by people saying things like, I can't actually get anything done. My to-do list is just so long, I never get anything off it. I go around in circles. Oh, I've got loads of sparkly things, and actually, I see a sparkly thing and I run off. sometimes called squirrels, but those things that actually we run off, we forget what we're doing and go and change direction really quickly. Got no motivation, feel a bit like, yeah, don't want to do anything anymore. I love to talk to those people too. People that maybe have a lack of confidence. Now, sometimes that portrays itself that they're very timid and they're scared to put themselves forward. But equally, people can appear very confident, but their inner confidence is really wobbly. So might be things like, can't possibly do that, got no motivation to do that, people much better than me. Or sometimes people just want a business confidant. They want somebody they can talk to about their business. Often, though, that brings up the stuff that's keeping them stuck. So anybody who really wants a business confidant, that's in my thing too, really. But actually what I work with is mindset. I actually work with the power of our brain. Our brain is super powerful, and sometimes we don't know how powerful it is. So I'm going to show you, courtesy of Dr. Steve Peters in The Chimp Paradox. If you haven't read it, great book, but it's the way that actually is the simplest way to think about our brain. So our brain has 3 parts, has many more parts. The frontal bit is our human brain. So that is where we get our logical thinking from. So, you know, when we go, I'm going to do this, logical brain thinking. We then have our parietal brain, which is our computer. It's where we store stuff. It's where we store our beliefs, the things that actually have come up over time, the things that our parents told us, that schools taught us, that other things have taught us. It's where we store our experiences. It doesn't think for itself. It just is like a filing cabinet. But we can program it. We can change those thought processes to serve us better. And then we have our limbic brain, prehistoric brain, the chimp system, the little bugger that, to be quite honest, can deviate us from everything that we think we want to do because he has no control. He thinks for itself. In a sense, his main point of call is survival. Think woolly mammoths roaming around, needs to help us survive. Emotionally driven, impulsive, quick. So where we respond to something and we literally shout something out or we respond very quickly, that's our limbic brain. Our chimp brain is reacting without engaging the human brain, the logical sense. So both our human brain and our chimp brain both go to the computer, check out if we've experienced this before. If we have, that's how we deal with it. That's where I come in, because actually our mindset is a combination of our upbringing, so stuff we've come up with in our past, our experiences, sometimes some of our genetics, and that gives us how we view the world. We all view the world very differently. So when I coach people, we focus on those existing beliefs and patterns of thinking. We look at how we see and interpret the world, or how my client looks at the world, and we look to confirm those beliefs. I use very carefully crafted questions that are very carefully crafted because they are asked in a certain way to unlock some of this stuff. And I always then look for my clients to seek a commitment to change. So we all want to change stuff, but sometimes our intention to change isn't that strong. So actually, at the end of every session, I'll ask my clients about, okay, so you said you're going to do this. Are you committed to doing that? I ask them to give me a score. If you ask somebody to score their commitment to themselves to do something between 1 to 10, anything less than a 7, they have no intention of doing it. No intention at all. Really has to be an 8, 9 or a 10 to be certain they're going to do it. And the other thing that I would say is that, yeah, I have an accountability with my clients. And lots of people go, I can be your accountability partner. Yeah, you can be a partner, but nobody can hold you to account for anything. You are the only person who can hold yourself to account for the things that you have chosen to do. So I can check in with my clients, I can check in to do it. And actually, the way that it works is that nobody is going to cough that they haven't done it, unless there's a real reason they haven't done it, and then I can dig a little bit further. So that is a very quick whiz around my world. Has anybody got any questions?
no, it's Vicky. Can you pop that last slide back on? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. There you go. Steve's got a question then,
That's
Laurie.
the accountability bit, right? Thank you.
Steve, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I'll get the hang of this one day. What made you become a coach? What made you swap from your HR to be a coach and go through all that?
So when I worked in HR, I had the privilege to work with an absolutely amazing coach. We did a lot of work in the police service around women in the police service who, for numerous reasons, were not getting up the ranks. A lot of them stopped at sergeant level. So we did a lot of work with our female officers and civilian staff to help them to progress through to more senior ranks. Worked a lot with this coach and I just loved it. And then I got into, we started to develop a coaching culture in the police service. And so I was able to use some of those skills that I'd learned, not as a professional coach, but just as a coaching manager. And when I was reflecting on what I wanted to do once I'd been made redundant, actually those bits of what I did, I loved. And for me, Steve, it's about seeing people change, people actually transforming themselves into the person they truly are, but almost the person they want to be consciously. And that is the best feeling in the world for me, as sort of the person who's just helping facilitate that. So yeah, that's why I did that, really. It's like I said earlier, it's a really big honour to work with my clients, privilege. So thank you for that question. Laurie.
Do you work primarily with women or do you work with men and women? And if you work with both men and women, do you find that there's more women that come to you or more men? Do you think there's a reason for that?
So I work with both is the answer. I do think there is a space for women to work with other women. And I think that's because of the different ways we're made up as men and women. That's sort of a very broad brush, but equally, I tend to find I get more male one-to-one clients. I think I've no knowledge about this, but I think it's because I'm a fairly direct female, and I think men find that I don't challenge their ego. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I think actually they find they can open up. Matt's looking at me there, look, because I think they can relate to me. I'm not a fluffy coach. I'm quite direct, straight talking, and I think that appeals to some guys. It appeals to some women too. I don't know. So maybe I should do a survey.
I think it'd be interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. I just stopped sharing my screen. Oh, Matt.
Who would you not work well with?
Oh, I don't work particularly well with people who, well, the honest answer is people who are not coachable. But the people I've found that reflects to are people who are very sort of set in their ways, people who perhaps don't have, and it's a bit of a buzzword, but emotional intelligence. So people who are not willing to tap into maybe their feelings, their thoughts, because actually that's what we work with. When we're stuck, it's about that feeling stuff, it's about our thought processes, and sometimes willing to challenge our thought processes. So if somebody isn't willing to change, even if they think I'm going to go and work with a coach, if they're deep down not willing to change, it will not have any impact on them at all.
Do you get that a lot?
No.
Cool.
I don't. And I think certainly when people approach me to talk to me about whether I'm the right coach for them, because I think that's the other thing, I won't be right for everybody. So it's always important to have what we would call in the industry a chemistry call to check out whether I think I can work with them, but more importantly whether they think they can work with me. And I explain how I work. You know, one of the things I say to people is I'm a challenging coach, so don't come to me if you just want me to be all sympathetic and go, oh, okay, because it's not going to happen. I am empathetic, but I'm not sympathetic, and I don't think you should be as a coach. I think you should be challenging, and you know, people are paying me for some change, so that's what I think I should do.
And finally, what's your opinion on Action Coach?
Oh, nasty question. So I think action coach have a place in the world, but they are very different to me, because action coaches very much go in to look at systems and processes. They have a system, so I think differences, we're very different, and I think they're expensive. I think they're expensive. However, it's all in the value, isn't it? It's in the value of what people see and what they get out of the experience. They've been around a long time, so I have to say, don't I, that actually the experiences that people get must be worthwhile, or they wouldn't still be in business. But I think they're very different to what I do. I think one of the difficulties in my industry is everybody's a coach and we're not all the same.